R's finger hovered above the controls of his sleek starship as he prepared for a stealth landing on Nova Prime. The legendary alien assassin hesitated. He had just received a message from humans. Run. It was laughable, a species he had always considered primitive and unremarkable, warning him. After a century of flawless contracts, R was not accustomed to being warned. He shook his head, scoffing at the audacity of the humans. They dared to threaten him. Reviewing the target profile once more, he saw the name Samuel Thompson, a wealthy industrialist beloved by his people for his innovative ideas that had transformed Nova Prime. A massive bounty was placed on Thompson's head, and the details were shrouded in mystery. But to R, it didn't matter. He accepted the job with a flick of his wrist. This human would die like all the others, his blood marking another successful mission in R's storied career. As he piloted his ship toward the human colony, he marveled at the advanced technology surrounding the settlement. Energy shields enveloped the city, shimmering like a protective cocoon, while automated guns patrolled the skies. Impressive, he thought, but nothing he hadn't dealt with before. With every approach, he felt the familiar rush of adrenaline. This would be another day, another contract, another life extinguished. However, an unusual sensation nagged at him, a flicker of uncertainty. R brushed it off. Confidence surged through him. No target had ever escaped his grasp. He locked in his final approach vector, preparing for the descent that would bring him to his prey. He dismissed the warning from the humans as mere bravado. They needed to learn their place in the galaxy, and he would be the one to teach them. The stealth technology of his ship rendered it invisible to the colony's sensors. As he landed quietly on the outskirts, he activated his nano-camouflage, allowing his appearance to shift to that of a nondescript human worker. With this disguise, R blended seamlessly into the bustling streets of Nova Prime, taking in the stunning architecture and advanced technology that surrounded him. The humans had come far in a short time, and he underestimated their capabilities. As he navigated through the city's underbelly, R's mind raced. He studied the extensive network of defenses protecting Thompson. Surveillance drones zipped overhead, scanning for any signs of intrusion. Biometric scanners secured entrances to important areas, and heavily armed guards patrolled the streets. This was no easy target, but R thrived on challenges. He identified a blind spot in the drone coverage, his opportunity to infiltrate Thompson's compound. Just as he finalized his plan, he intercepted a conversation between Thompson and his chief of security, Marcus Recker. The tension in Recker's voice conveyed urgency. "We've received credible intel about an assassin contracted to take you out," he warned, detailing the security measures taken to protect Thompson. Yet, the industrialist's calm demeanor gave R pause. "I trust you completely, Marcus. We'll show this assassin what happens when they mess with Nova Prime." R's lips curled into a cold smile. The confidence of these humans was amusing. They didn't know the predator stalking them. As he moved closer to his target, doubts began to creep into his mind. Had he underestimated them? He shook his head, forcing himself to focus on the task at hand. As he approached Thompson's private quarters, an unexpected flash of light blinded him. Security personnel emerged, weapons drawn, their precision evident as they trained their sights on him. In that moment, R realized the humans had anticipated his every move. The tables had turned. He was not the predator he believed himself to be. As AAR lurked in the shadows of Nova Prime's underbelly, he couldn't shake the unsettling realization that his mission was far more complicated than he had initially believed. The humans had proven themselves formidable, and his injuries served as a painful reminder that underestimating them could be his undoing. The once unshakable confidence he had felt began to waver as the implications of his target's technological advancements sank in. The image of Lyra, the Zri, flickered in his mind. Her warning had hinted at the rising potential of humanity, a species he had always dismissed as primitive. He recalled her voice, laced with urgency, explaining that Samuel Thompson was not just an ordinary human. He was a visionary whose innovations could shift the very balance of power in the galaxy. AAR's mind raced with the possibilities. If this technology fell into the wrong hands, it could spell disaster for countless worlds. Regaining his composure, AAR knew he needed a new strategy. The humans were resourceful, and the security measures around Thompson were likely only the beginning. As he gathered his thoughts, he reflected on his options. He could retreat and regroup, but that would mean abandoning the contract, and he could not afford to show weakness. The bounty on Thompson's head was too lucrative, and his reputation was at stake. He accessed the ship's communications system, connecting to the various networks of information he had available. His neural link buzzed as data streamed in, revealing the current state of Thompson's research facility. AAR learned that the facility was heavily fortified, surrounded by layers of security that included biometric scanners, armed guards, and automated defense systems. The humans had not only anticipated an attack, they had fortified their defenses in response. Suddenly, an idea sparked within him. Instead of confronting Thompson head-on, he could gather intel by infiltrating the research facility under the guise of a technician. With his advanced nano-camouflage, he could easily blend in. The thrill of the hunt surged within him as he mapped out the plan in his mind. After tending to his wounds, AAR set off toward the facility. He navigated through the winding corridors of the colony, his senses heightened. The sights and sounds of the bustling city were both foreign and intriguing. He had often viewed humans as a mere stepping stone in his career, but now he found himself captivated by their ingenuity and resilience. As he approached the research facility, AAR's heart raced. He observed the perimeter guards and the automated drones buzzing overhead. They seemed to move with a synchronized precision, a testament to the meticulous planning of Thompson's security team. Using his stealth technology, he slipped past the outer defenses, his form blending seamlessly with the shadows. Once inside, he had to act fast. The facility was filled with technicians and researchers, each absorbed in their tasks. AAR utilized his shape-shifting ability to adopt the appearance of a human worker. His disguise was flawless, and he felt a surge of adrenaline as he stepped into the heart of the operation. Navigating through the labyrinth of corridors, AAR's keen eyes scanned for any information that could lead him closer to Thompson. He caught snippets of conversation between researchers discussing breakthroughs and prototypes. Words like energy shields and offensive capabilities echoed in his ears, deepening his resolve. He needed to uncover the details of Thompson's project before making his move. Suddenly, his attention was drawn to a locked door marked Restricted Access. The signs of high-security technology hinted that it led to the core of Thompson's research. AAR approached cautiously, listening for any signs of guards or security measures. When the coast was clear, he activated his hacking tools, overriding the lock with ease. The door slid open silently, revealing a sterile room filled with advanced equipment and holographic displays. Inside, he found a console displaying data related to the new technology. As he scanned the information, his eyes widened. The breakthrough could indeed render existing energy shields obsolete, changing the course of conflict in the galaxy. AAR's instincts screamed at him. This knowledge was far too valuable to simply destroy. Instead, it could be used to manipulate the situation to his advantage. Just as he began to download the data, an alarm blared, piercing the silence. AAR's heart dropped. His presence had been detected. He quickly severed the connection and dashed toward the exit, knowing the humans would be on high alert. The thrill of the chase ignited his instincts as he navigated the complex, his mind racing with possible escape routes. He made it back to the main corridor, but chaos ensued. Security personnel swarmed the facility, shouting commands and rushing in all directions. AAR activated his cloaking device, becoming nearly invisible as he maneuvered through the panic-stricken crowd. He could hear the distant voice of Marcus Riker barking orders, urging his team to secure the area and find the intruder. With every step, AAR felt the pressure mounting. He had to escape without leaving a trace. His heart raced not just from the adrenaline of the chase, but from the realization that the very technology he sought to destroy might now be his ticket to survival. As he neared a service exit, he spotted a maintenance hatch leading to the lower levels. Without hesitation, he dove inside. The darkened shaft was cramped and disorienting. He descended quickly, the sounds of chaos fading above him. AAR's mind spun with possibilities. He could use the information he had gathered to forge an alliance with a rival faction or sell it to the highest bidder. Perhaps even turn the tables on his client. As he reached the bottom, he found himself in a dimly lit maintenance area filled with machinery and spare parts. It was a far cry from the sterile precision of the research facility. Here, he could catch his breath and formulate a plan. With his injuries still fresh, he knew he couldn't afford to rush into his next move. He activated his neural link again, reaching out to Lyra. The holographic image of the Zuri appeared, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. "You have the data?" she asked, her voice tinged with urgency. "Not yet," AAR replied, his voice steady. "But I have information on their defenses. They are more advanced than we anticipated. If we want to obtain the technology, we'll need a solid plan." Lyra nodded, her iridescent scales shimmering as she considered the implications. "We can't let this opportunity slip away. If we work together, we might stand a chance against the humans." AAR felt a flicker of hope at her words. This partnership could be the key to overcoming the challenges ahead. With his skills and her knowledge of the galaxy, they could devise a strategy that played to their strengths. As they discussed their options, AAR's mind turned to Samuel Thompson. The human was not just a target anymore. He was a formidable opponent, one who would fight tooth and nail to protect his legacy. AAR realized that to take him down, he would need to understand the very essence of what made humanity resilient. In the coming days, he planned to observe Thompson closely. To truly grasp the human spirit, he needed to see how they fought, how they loved, and how they survived against insurmountable odds. AAR resolved to remain hidden, biding his time until the perfect moment to strike. The next phase of his mission would require not just strength and skill, but an understanding of the very humanity he had once dismissed. The thrill of the hunt was still alive within him, but now it was tempered by a newfound respect for the species he had underestimated. As he prepared to delve deeper into the heart of Nova Prime, AAR felt an unfamiliar sensation stirring within him: curiosity. He was no longer just an assassin on a mission. He was a seeker of knowledge, ready to unravel the mysteries of humanity that lay before him. With that thought in mind, AAR vanished into the shadows, determined to uncover the secrets that would lead him to victory, and perhaps redefine his own understanding of what it meant to be powerful in a galaxy filled with both wonder and peril. In the days that followed, AAR became a ghost within Nova Prime. He utilized the bustling city's infrastructure to his advantage, blending in seamlessly among the diverse crowds that flowed through its streets. The humans went about their daily lives, oblivious to the predator in their midst. He watched and learned, keenly observing the resilience and creativity that defined humanity. Samuel Thompson's research facility became his focal point. From a distance, he monitored the comings and goings of the staff, noting their interactions and the camaraderie that developed among them. Each smile exchanged and every word of encouragement only deepened AAR's intrigue. He had always thought of humans as weak, but here, he saw their strength reflected in the bonds they forged with one another. He spent his nights perched on rooftops, the cool winds of Nova Prime brushing against him as he studied the facility's layout. He noted every guard shift, the timing of patrols, and the vulnerabilities in their defenses. Yet, amidst this analytical observation, he found himself captivated by the human spirit. They faced challenges with a tenacity that both frustrated and fascinated him. As AAR's understanding of humanity grew, so did his respect for Thompson. The man was not just a brilliant scientist, he was a leader. AAR had watched him during team meetings, passionately discussing ideas and pushing his colleagues to innovate. The spark in his eyes was infectious, igniting a fervor in those around him. AAR couldn't help but wonder what it would take to break such a spirit. In a moment of reckless curiosity, AAR decided to infiltrate the facility once more, this time under the guise of a researcher. He'd studied the personnel roster and had memorized enough details to assume the identity of a recently hired technician. It was a gamble, but the potential reward was too enticing to resist. As he activated his nano-camouflage, transforming his features to match those of the technician, a rush of anticipation surged through him. He slipped through the security checkpoints, nodding to guards and greeting employees with practiced casualness. The heart of the facility throbbed around him, the hum of machines, and the chatter of scientists creating a symphony of innovation. Once inside, AAR felt both exhilarated and apprehensive. The vast array of equipment and data displays surrounded him, each more advanced than the last. As he wandered deeper into the facility, he found himself in the central lab, a hive of activity where the brightest minds worked side by side. There he spotted Samuel Thompson, deeply engrossed in a discussion with a group of researchers. AAR's breath caught as he listened. Thompson was outlining a revolutionary energy technology designed to harness cosmic rays, a resource that could potentially power entire planets without the limitations of traditional energy sources. AAR had expected to feel envy or contempt, but instead he was struck by a sense of wonder. The depth of human creativity was astounding, and the implications of this technology could alter the power dynamics of the galaxy. AAR's instincts told him that this was information worth more than any bounty. It could redefine not only his life, but the fate of countless civilizations. After several hours of blending in, AAR realized he needed to leave before suspicion arose. He retraced his steps, heart racing as he navigated back to the exit. Just as he reached the door, a voice called out to him. "Hey, you're new here, right?" It was Marcus Riker, the head of security, eyeing him curiously. AAR's mind raced. "Yes, sir." "Just transferred from the engineering division," he replied, keeping his tone calm and confident. Riker studied him for a moment before nodding. "Good to see fresh faces. We could use more people who think outside the box. Keep up the good work." As AAR slipped through the door, relief washed over him. He had evaded discovery, but the close call sent a jolt of adrenaline through his veins. He realized that the humans' vigilance could pose a significant threat. They were not just innovators, they were also protectors of their own. Back in his temporary hideout, AAR accessed the data he had gathered, sifting through the intricate plans and blueprints he had downloaded. The more he learned, the more he saw the potential for manipulation. He could take this information to his client, but he hesitated. The thought of betraying Thompson and the team he had come to admire felt wrong. Instead, he began to formulate a new plan, one that would allow him to gain the trust of the humans while secretly gathering intelligence. He could use his position to influence events, maybe even protect Thompson from threats he had yet to uncover. It was a dangerous path, but AAR felt a stirring of purpose he hadn't anticipated. Weeks passed, and AAR continued to work within the facility, all while carefully observing Thompson and his team. He began to engage more with the researchers, offering insights and suggestions that showcased his technical knowledge. To his surprise, the humans welcomed him with open arms. They were eager to share their ideas, and AAR found himself becoming part of their team in a way he never expected. Through this newfound camaraderie, AAR learned about the personal struggles and triumphs that fueled their work. He heard stories of loss, perseverance, and dreams that reached beyond the stars. Each narrative added layers to his understanding of humanity, and he found himself increasingly drawn to their plight. One evening, as the sun set over Nova Prime, casting a golden hue across the city, AAR overheard a conversation that would change everything. Thompson and his lead engineer, Elena, were discussing a recent setback in their research. A critical component of the energy technology had malfunctioned, threatening to delay their project indefinitely. "We can't let this stop us," Thompson insisted, his voice resolute. "We're on the brink of something incredible. We need to find a way to fix it, or we risk losing everything. AAR felt a pang of empathy. He understood the stakes all too well. The fate of the energy project was not just a matter of personal ambition, it had implications for the entire galaxy. If he could help them, it might earn their trust and allow him to further infiltrate their operations without raising alarms. Perhaps I could assist, AAR suggested, stepping forward. I have some experience with the technology. Thompson turned, surprise evident on his face. You're a technician, right? What do you think you can do? I've seen similar systems in my previous work, AAR replied, carefully keeping his tone casual. I may be able to identify the malfunction or suggest a workaround. Elena's eyes lit up with hope. That could really help us. The sooner we get this sorted, the better. As they moved to the lab, AAR felt a strange thrill. This was an opportunity to prove himself, to show them that he was more than just an outsider. He immersed himself in the challenge, recalling every detail of the data he had seen and using his skills to troubleshoot the problem. Hours passed, and AAR's mind raced as he worked alongside the team. He felt an exhilarating rush of creativity, channeling the very essence of what made humans so remarkable. It wasn't just about technical skills, it was about collaboration and a shared vision for a better future. As they progressed, AAR felt something shift within him. The humans he had once viewed as mere targets were now colleagues, allies even. The sense of camaraderie was palpable, and he found himself cheering alongside them when they finally isolated the malfunction. With newfound energy, AAR guided the team through the repair process, his suggestions met with enthusiasm and gratitude. It was exhilarating, watching their faces light up as they made breakthroughs. In that moment, he realized that he had become part of something greater, an intricate web of human potential, creativity, and resilience. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. As they activated the repaired system, the monitors hummed to life, displaying data that confirmed their success. The room erupted in cheers, and AAR found himself swept up in the celebration. For the first time, he felt a sense of belonging, something he had long thought impossible for an assassin like him. As the celebrations continued, AAR felt the weight of his dual identity pressing on him. He had started this mission as an outsider with a singular goal, to eliminate Thompson. Yet, here he was, cheering for the very man he was supposed to target. It was a conflict that gnawed at him, but AAR pushed those thoughts aside for now, choosing instead to revel in the moment. That night, as he lay in his hideout, the echoes of laughter and triumph still ringing in his ears, AAR contemplated the choices that lay ahead. He had the power to turn the tide, to reshape the course of events in ways he had never imagined. But at what cost? The next morning, AAR awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. He was not just an assassin anymore. He was a strategist, a protector, and perhaps even a friend. His mission had transformed into something more profound, a chance to safeguard the very future of the galaxy. With this new perspective, AAR resolved to protect Samuel Thompson and his team, all while continuing to gather intelligence on potential threats. The stakes were higher than ever, and AAR was determined to navigate the treacherous waters that lay ahead. As he prepared for another day in the research facility, he felt a flicker of hope within him. Perhaps there was still time to redefine his path, to forge a new destiny that would bridge the divide between his past and the uncertain future that awaited him. As the gather approached, AAR meticulously honed his plan. He knew he needed to blend in seamlessly with the elite of Nova Prime, so he studied the dress, mannerisms, and conversations of high-ranking officials and wealthy investors. It was crucial to maintain his facade while positioning himself close to Samuel Thompson. On the night of the event, the research facility was transformed into a dazzling venue. Lights twinkled like stars above a sea of elegantly dressed attendees. AAR donned a finely tailored suit, his appearance now that of a prominent investor from a far-off planet. With his advanced camouflage technology, he could adapt even the slightest details, ensuring he looked the part perfectly. As he entered the grand hall, he was enveloped by the atmosphere of anticipation and excitement. The air buzzed with chatter about the new technology and its potential impact on the galaxy. AAR's keen senses picked up snippets of conversation, each revealing more about the humans' hopes and aspirations. They were not merely fighting for survival, they were striving to carve out a future for themselves, one that was bold and full of possibilities. Thompson stood at the center of attention, charismatic and confident, engaging with various dignitaries. AAR observed him closely, noting how effortlessly he commanded the room. The humans adored him, and he radiated a sense of purpose that made AAR's mission feel increasingly complex. This was not just a target, this was a leader inspiring a revolution. As the evening progressed, Thompson stepped onto the stage to present the new energy shield technology. The audience fell silent, eyes glued to him. AAR felt a strange twinge in his gut as he watched Thompson speak. The human exuded passion and conviction, and it was infectious. AAR reminded himself of his purpose. This was not the time for distractions. He had a job to do. Tonight, we unveil a breakthrough that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Thompson proclaimed, his voice resonating through the hall. Our new energy shield technology not only protects against conventional attacks, but also offers unparalleled defense against electromagnetic pulses. This advancement will ensure the safety of Nova Prime and its people. AAR's heart raced. This was the moment he had been waiting for. As Thompson demonstrated the shield's capabilities, AAR seized the opportunity. He slipped away from the crowd, using the facility's blueprints he had studied to navigate the backstage area undetected. His goal was simple: access the control room where the core data was stored. Reaching the control room, AAR's pulse quickened. He activated his cloaking device and slipped inside. The room was filled with monitors displaying data and systems, a treasure trove of information. AAR connected his device to the main terminal, his fingers flying over the controls as he downloaded critical files. He was so close to success when suddenly, the door swung open. AAR turned, cloaking still active, and watched as Marcus entered. The researcher had a look of determination on his face, a clipboard clutched tightly in one hand. "I need to check the security protocols before the demonstration," Marcus muttered, his back to AAR. The assassin's instincts kicked in. He could incapacitate Marcus and remain undetected, but something held him back. As he listened to Marcus speak to himself about the importance of the demonstration and the lives it could protect, AAR felt a flicker of doubt. He realized that this human wasn't just a security officer. He was someone who believed deeply in their mission. AAR shook off the feeling, focusing on the task at hand. Just as he was about to finish downloading the files, the cloaking device flickered. The energy levels were too low for prolonged use, and AAR knew he had to act quickly. He deactivated the cloaking, stepping out of the shadows. "Who are you?" Marcus shouted, eyes wide with surprise, as he turned to face AAR. With no time to explain, AAR lunged at Marcus, intent on neutralizing him. But Marcus was quick, diving to the side and grabbing a nearby communication device. "Intruder. We have an intruder," he yelled, his voice echoing down the hall. AAR's heart raced. He had to finish what he started. He darted toward the exit, but the alarms blared, red lights flashing as security forces mobilized. In the chaos, AAR felt the tension in the air shift. The humans were not going to back down easily. They had something to fight for, and they would do whatever it took to protect it. Rushing through the corridors, AAR encountered several security personnel. He fought with precision, using his training to outmaneuver them. However, he could feel their determination, their unity in the face of danger. They were not the easy prey he had anticipated. They fought with a ferocity that surprised him. In a narrow hallway, AAR found himself cornered. He activated his cloaking device again, but it was losing power. He had to escape before he was overwhelmed. As he ducked into an alcove, He heard Thompson's voice over the intercom, commanding his team with calm authority. "Stay together. We'll flush him out. No one gets left behind." Those words struck AAR deeply. The unity and leadership exhibited by Thompson was formidable. It was a rallying cry, and it galvanized the humans. They weren't just defending their technology, they were protecting their future, their families, and each other. AAR realized he was in a fight not just for his survival, but also for a chance to understand this resilient species. He slipped out of the facility through an emergency exit, adrenaline coursing through his veins. As he escaped into the night, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had underestimated the humans. In the shadows, he pondered his next move. The download was incomplete, but now he had valuable insights into their technology and the spirit that fueled it. AAR would need to regroup and reconsider his approach. Perhaps the mission wasn't just about the assassination. It could be an opportunity to learn from them, to understand what made humanity so formidable. Back at his hidden base, AAR began analyzing the files he had managed to download. He was not just looking at data, he was witnessing the ambition and creativity of a species that had risen from the ashes of their past. The way they rallied together inspired him. It was a lesson he had never thought he would learn. In that moment of reflection, AAR made a choice. He would not simply be an assassin targeting a valuable human. He would immerse himself in their world, understand their strengths, and perhaps forge a new path that transcended the conflict. The galaxy was vast and full of potential, and maybe, just maybe, humans could be allies instead of enemies. As the stars twinkled above Nova Prime, AAR contemplated his future. He would gather more intel, study the humans from a different perspective, and perhaps prepare for an unexpected twist in his journey. After all, in a universe filled with uncertainty, creativity, and collaboration might just be the keys to survival. Days turned into weeks as AAR observed the humans from the shadows, carefully crafting his understanding of their culture and technological advancements. He had settled into a rhythm, blending into the bustling life of Nova Prime while gathering information on Samuel Thompson and his team. They were developing the energy shield technology further, preparing for a demonstration that could potentially attract the attention of powerful allies and dangerous enemies. During this time, AAR's respect for humanity grew. Their ingenuity and resilience fascinated him. He watched as Thompson's team worked tirelessly, often late into the night, driven by a shared vision of peace and security for their planet. The camaraderie among the humans was palpable. They supported each other through challenges, celebrating every small victory with genuine enthusiasm. One evening, as AAR covertly monitored a strategy meeting in a conference room, he felt an unexpected pull toward their cause. Thompson laid out plans for the next phase of their project, emphasizing the importance of collaboration with other species. "We can't do this alone," he insisted, his voice steady and confident. "We need to reach out to our neighbors, share our knowledge, and forge alliances. Together, we can create a safer galaxy." The idea of unity resonated deeply with AAR. He had spent his life as a lone operative, trained to work in isolation, but the humans were showing him a different way. They believed in a future built on cooperation rather than conquest. A flicker of hope ignited within him. Perhaps there was a way to bridge the gap between their worlds. As the meeting concluded, AAR made a bold decision. He would approach Thompson directly, reveal his identity, and offer his insights. It was a risk, but he felt it was necessary. If he could convey the urgency of his warnings about the impending threats against humanity, perhaps they could turn their focus from mere survival to proactive collaboration. AAR crafted a careful plan. Under the cover of night, he approached the facility, slipping through the security systems with practiced ease. He made his way to the observation deck, a quiet place overlooking the city. It was there he hoped to catch Thompson alone. As luck would have it, Thompson arrived shortly after AAR. He appeared deep in thought, staring out at the vibrant city lights. AAR took a deep breath, stepping into the shadows and letting his cloaking device power down. Samuel Thompson, he called out, his voice steady but filled with urgency. Thompson turned sharply, eyes widening in surprise. "Who are you? Show yourself." His voice was authoritative, but AAR could sense a hint of curiosity beneath it. AAR stepped forward, letting the cloak drop. "I am AAR, an operative from a distant world. I have been observing you and your team." He could see the gears turning in Thompson's mind, trying to process the unexpected appearance of a stranger. "What do you want?" Thompson asked, a mix of caution and intrigue in his tone. "I want to help," AAR replied, holding Thompson's gaze. "I've witnessed your tenacity and vision, and I believe there is a grave threat approaching your world, one that your current technology cannot combat alone." Thompson regarded him with skepticism, but also with a flicker of interest. "You've been watching us? Why should I trust you?" "Because I've seen what you can achieve when united. Your strength lies in collaboration, not isolation. I can provide you with information about an impending attack, a coalition of factions that seek to eliminate any potential threat to their dominance." Thompson narrowed his eyes, evaluating AAR. After a moment, he gestured for AAR to continue. "Speak." AAR detailed the intelligence he had gathered about the looming threat. He explained how factions within the galaxy were growing increasingly hostile towards humanity, fearing their rapid technological advancements. The energy shield technology, in particular, was seen as a potential game-changer that could tip the balance of power. "The coalition is planning to strike before you can finalize the technology. They believe that by eliminating key figures like you, they can stifle humanity's rise." AAR warned, his voice urgent. "I can help you prepare, but I need your trust." Thompson absorbed the information, the weight of AAR's words settling in. "This is a lot to take in. If what you say is true, we need to act quickly." "But how do I know you're not leading me into a trap?" AAR hesitated, realizing the gravity of what he was asking. "You don't, but I can show you the resources I have access to, the intel I've gathered on these factions. You will see that my intentions are genuine." Thompson considered this, the flicker of determination returning to his gaze. "Fine, but know this. If you betray us, you'll find yourself facing more than just my team. You'll face the full might of humanity." AAR nodded, accepting the terms. Understood. From that moment on, an unlikely alliance formed. AAR worked alongside Thompson and his team, sharing his knowledge of the factions and their tactics. He integrated himself into their efforts, using his unique skill set to enhance their defenses and strategies. They trained together, blending human ingenuity with AAR's combat expertise. As they prepared for the potential conflict, AAR found himself increasingly drawn to the human spirit. He marveled at their ability to innovate under pressure, their resilience in the face of adversity. Each member of Thompson's team brought a unique perspective, and their collaborative spirit inspired AAR to rethink his own approach to life. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly. AAR found camaraderie among them, feeling a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. He was no longer a solitary figure in the shadows. He was part of something greater. As the demonstration day approached, Thompson held a meeting with his team, discussing their final preparations. "We must be ready for anything," he emphasized, looking around the room. "AAR has provided us with valuable insights, but we cannot underestimate our adversaries. They will come for us." AAR watched as Thompson's team rallied together, their resolve evident. They were ready to defend their vision, their home, and each other. AAR felt a surge of pride. He was no longer just an observer, he was a protector of something worth fighting for. That night, as the stars glittered above, AAR found himself standing alongside Thompson on the observation deck once more. "You've come a long way since we first met," Thompson remarked, a hint of admiration in his voice. AAR nodded, reflecting on his journey. "I have learned more in these weeks than I have in a lifetime. Your species embodies a strength that I admire." Thompson smiled, a genuine expression that lit up his face. We're just getting started. Together, we'll show the galaxy what humanity is capable of. The stage was set for the demonstration, and AAR felt the weight of their mission pressing down on him. They were ready, but so was their adversary. He knew the time was near when they would need to stand together, not just as allies but as a united front against those who threatened their shared future. As dawn broke over Nova Prime, AAR prepared for the day ahead. This was no longer just about survival. It was about forging a new path, one where humans and other species could work together for a brighter future. And AAR was ready to play his part, no matter the cost.